This is my final video post on the Decapitating Canary that will feature in the song Pulled. Today we finally settled on a way that would successfully represent the removal of the head from the canary's body in a way that both me and my partner felt would be humorous and would be realistic to achieve. After reviewing the previous method that I talked about in the last video, in the rehearsal session, we quickly discovered that once it was tested in the rehearsal scene, it was going to be difficult for the actress playing Wednesday to hold the dowel piece down whilst the spring was loaded. This was what I predicted before and was what I was concerned about when developing that prototype. So after the lesson it confirmed what I originally believed. After discovering that the prototype idea that we tested in the lesson would not be effective ultimately, me and my partner decided to come up with other ways of using the spring-loaded mechanism to detach the bird's head from the body. However, at the end of this discussion we decided that due to the time constraints of this project and the fast approaching date of the show's run at the Brewery Arts Centre, that we would simply not have enough time to develop the spring-loaded mechanism idea, and we would have to settle for a different idea that was much easier to prepare and was equally as effective. So we officially discontinued the idea of the spring-loaded mechanism and dowel piece. It was after this discussion that I came up with the idea of using Velcro as a way of detaching the head from the body. By doing this, we would simply place 2 layers of Velcro onto the top of the canary's body, and where the foam is filled into the top of the canary's body, we would simply put the 2 strips on top and a single strip on the canary's head. This would create a strong bond between the head and the body, and it could also mean that the head would be easily removed on stage, meaning it would be effective. So with that idea in mind, we started to create a head for this canary. Here is the head which we started off with. We started making the head by using a ping pong ball as a shell for the shape of the head. We then covered the ping pong ball in the yellow fleece that was used on the canary's body and wrapped it around the ball and stitched it up by hand, creating a yellow furry head shape. Then once we did that, we attached a triangular piece of material to the front of the head, and this would represent the bird's beak on stage. We then coloured this in orange to give it more of a realistic appearance. We then, for comic appeal, attached 2 eyes to the front, and this was our final head. Once we had the head for our canary, we then began to develop the Velcro idea that I talked about. I started by using 2 strips of the Velcro material, roughly a centimetre, and using a hot glue gun I glued them onto the top of the foam that was used to fill the inside of the canary. Then, once I had applied the Velcro to the top of the canary's body, I then applied it to the bottom of the canary's head. I just used a single strip because this is all it would need to create a strong enough bond between the head and the body. Once letting the glue dry, I then tested this method out by attaching the head onto the top of the body, and also testing whether the detachment of the head would be effective by simply using one tug to remove the head. For realistic appearance as well, I used wire to create the bird's feet on the bottom, and I coloured these in a black felt tip pen for a realistic effect. Then, to create a stronger bond between the wings and the body, I used the hot glue gun again to create a stronger seal on here, so the wings would be less likely to become detached. Having now finished the Decapitating Canary, I am pleased that the Velcro has allowed us to complete this project within the allotted timescale. Although I am disappointed that we were forced to discontinue the spring-loaded mechanism idea due to the time constraints of this project. I feel that if we had continued the spring-loaded mechanism idea, I feel that it would have been very comedic for the audience, and it would have made the prop canary appear more humorous on stage. However, the Velcro has ultimately given us a more satisfactory result, and for that I am grateful. Generally speaking about this prop, I am incredibly pleased with the result. I'm quite proud of how good the body has turned out from previous attempts at it. For example, before you were able to see the copper wire and the inside of it, where the wire was sticking out from the body. However, now that we have filled it more with the foam, it has bulked this canary's body out, and it looks to be more effective because you can no longer see the strands of wire that we used. I like the wings as well. They are very flexible. We have strips of wire in here, meaning they can be bent into various different shapes, and I think that will be useful when this is brought onto the brewery arts stage. And ultimately, I'm very pleased with the head and how almost comic-like the bird appears with the prop eyes. It just gives it that extra bit of realism, and ultimately, of course, the easiness of being able to detach the head from the body. I feel that the Velcro noise is also quite effective because it makes a bit of a scrunching or a sort of crunching sound as the head is removed, which could be appearing as gory on stage, which might also be quite effective. So ultimately, there's not much more I'm going to do with this prop, other than maybe paint the Velcro pieces both on the head and on the body. I will probably paint these in a yellow paint. This will help to disguise the use of the Velcro from the audience, and it will appear as if the canary's body is whole until Wednesday grabs the head and removes it from the body. So ultimately, after finishing this project and reflecting on it, I've realised that I've very much enjoyed working on this prop. It's challenged my craftsman abilities, and has got me thinking more about the use of the materials and how they can affect the overall outcome of a project, and has also got me to push myself more in my creative ideas for creating mechanisms and things like that, such as the spring-loaded mechanism idea for the removing of the head in the original post that I delivered. In future projects, I would love to do something very similar to this again, because I've gained so much knowledge and enjoyment out of it, and I would just love to be able to do something like this again. So I'm pleased that the canary is now finished, well within the time scale, and I'm looking forward to seeing it on the Brewery Arts stage and seeing how it will appear in that number with Wednesday Addams pulled. So that now concludes the development of the canary.